What's up, y'all? Jason here. Check this out. Today's video, you guys want to see motorcycle mounting options, right? So these things right here, you guys, you want to go on a trip somewhere on your motorcycle, for example. Maybe you guys just want to go goof off with your friends, but you're on a motorcycle and you're like, damn, how do I mount those cool cameras to my motorcycle? Well, I'm going to show a little bit of all of that for you guys, but I do want to show a comparison between the PGYTech and this cheap alternative I have sitting right here on my motorcycle that is like super strong. So you guys can buy at your own risk, okay? There's going to be different types of people that look for different types of things, willing to spend a different types of money for different types of things. So in this video, I'm going to just show you guys how this thing works, how it looks, maybe show you a couple places where you can mount them between the motorcycle and or your electric scooter. And I'll let you guys know my opinion on, do I think it's worth it? Stay tuned. All right, so we got the PGYTech Super Clamp Mount. Now let me show you guys the contents in this box. Now this is a newer product. It is now April of 2024. This product was released last month, March of 2024. And so this is the contents in the box. You're gonna have everything you see here, right? You're gonna have the pamphlet. We're gonna get rid of the pamphlet. So what you have is the actual clamp. It took me a little while to get this back in here. I just couldn't remember how to do it. We got the clamp, all right? Now there's different ways to manipulate this clamp. You got this main butterfly right here, okay? And it'll stop on its own when it reaches max limit, right? So it's opened up about that much. How much of a gap that is, you guys may ask? Let's get a ruler. Look how I magically just found a ruler. Okay, so we have the maximum opening, okay? That's 1.5 inches. So anything circular that has a 1.5 inch girth, so to speak, you can wrap this thing around. That can be handlebars. That can be, on my motorcycle, I have these handles right here as a sport tourer. So I do have a center stand. Most sport tourers, they have some sort of a handle right here. Probably most bikes in general, they have some sort of a handle right here that you can hold on to manipulate your bike while you're walking it or something like that. So this can wrap around that. And so that's what this butterfly right down here is for. This one up here will manipulate this movement and spinning it around, okay? So once you get this thing situated where you want to, you start to tighten it, right? Now, something I recommend when you guys are tightening any type of mount like this or clamp system like this, they usually have grooves inside of them. The grooves are gonna look like how these are. You see these are look like little grooves inside of this little wheel. Okay, there's stuff like that inside of this mechanism. So once you get it close to where you want it to be, if you guys look, you'll see it kind of moves a little bit and you start to tighten a little bit. You shake it and make sure that it doesn't move, and then you can clamp it. Now, the cool thing about the PGYTech clamp mount right here is it comes with this clamp, this little tool or whatever, wrench. Now, the only thing they didn't give me was a lanyard. I didn't get a lanyard PGYTech, and that's okay. You can buy a lanyard anywhere, but the lanyard would basically go in this little hole, so you can loop it on a keychain ring or something like that. And then you'll have this tool that'll allow you to do the big butterfly and the small one, my guys, yes. So you can get a really good tightening going on once you clamp this to whatever you want to clamp it on. I'm gonna tell you, this is a good tool. This tool is amazing, actually. Don't go too tight, if that makes any sense, okay? And what I mean when I say don't go too tight, there's gonna be two different places. You don't wanna go too tight. What this clamp system is, that's whatever you wrap this around. So let's go on ahead to the bike. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here we have the arm thing. This is like the handle part, right? Inside of this thing here, there's like a rubber, this is like a soft silk. Hold on, get you in the frame. This is like a soft silicone kind of, this is like a soft material, like a rubber or something. It's not super grippy, but the problem is when you clamp this onto something, right? Especially something that has ridges, like you see how this has a ridge, a pointy part right here, and it's pointy right here, and it's pointy down here. You wanna make sure, however you mount this, you wanna mount this so that The pointy parts, like you see how that pointy part is kind of like pointing right inside the middle, right in here. You want to kind of do that for the best fitment. And that's when you're mounting it to something that's not completely round. This thing has, like I said, it's like a triangle, so to speak, or like a rounded square. And then once you get this thing, always shake before you tighten. I'm pulling up and down on it to make sure it doesn't move, right? And let me loosen it up a little bit, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about a little bit more. As you're fitting it, you're kind of doing this, right? You're trying to find a sweet spot. So you tighten with your hand until you find that sweet spot where it's not gonna move. And then you tighten a little more until it's not gonna move. And then you take the tool and you tighten it. Now, what I'm telling you to be careful about is tightening it with this tool. If you're gonna tighten it super tight, because you really wanna make sure it doesn't go anywhere while you mount your camera to it, that's fine. Go on ahead and adjust this one. You know, if you want it to stick out to the back, you see what I'm saying? You have manipulations like this. Okay, it's pretty much 180-degree manipulation with this. And the same thing, hand tighten, shake, make sure it doesn't move. Now it will move just a little bit. That's okay, that's totally fine. You just wanna make sure that it doesn't move, then you tighten a little more, it doesn't move. Now the smaller one is gonna tighten a whole lot easier than this one. This one's not even really tightening anymore with my hands. So that's where you grab the tool and you just give it a little nudge. And that's it. Guys, do not over tighten this. Do not over tighten any of these two. Just give it a good nudge and then leave it. It's not, I promise you, it's not gonna go anywhere. If you wanna be sure, you can grab it, you can shake it and pull it. Don't be ridiculous with it, because the cameras you mount to this thing is not gonna weigh nowhere near as much as what the pressure you just put with your hand on this thing is, okay? So keep that in mind when you're tightening this or securing it. You do not have to get crazy with it, because remember the camera, whatever camera you mount to this is not gonna weigh. If I'm doing this with my hands, I just applied like 40, 50 pounds of pressure. Your camera will not apply that much pressure to this mount. So you don't need to go crazy with shaking it to make sure it's secure. Just be reasonable with it, okay? So this is my handlebar setup. I do not have really any real estate on my handlebars to mount something like this. Now, I can probably try to squeeze it right here in the corner. As long as this thing opens up to 1.5 inches, I might be able to get it in. Okay, it's kind of over there, but then I have my brake line. You guys may or may not see that. So as far as my motorcycle goes, I have a lot of stuff going on. It's very bulky up here. I don't have anywhere where I can mount this. Now, some of you guys, depending on how long your handlebars are, you might be able to mount it on your actual handlebars if it doesn't protrude or get in the way of your signals. You always want to keep that in mind, okay? Maybe on this side, but you might have cruise control on this side. So for me, I don't use this thing anywhere up front because I don't have any reasonable places to put it. So here we have the Nami Burn E electric scooter. Now, there's a few places, there's quite a few places you can mount this, but I'm gonna be very intentional with what I'm about to tell you with mounting it to the rear of these scooters. This scooter does not have any traction back here as far as this material goes on the back. A mistake I've done was I took one of the cheaper ones, right? The other one that's on the motorcycle. I took it and I mounted back here and I tightened it down really tight, right? Now that one has a grippier material on the inside of here. It's grippier than on this one, right? I mounted it back here. I cleaned it really good with alcohol. It's like, yeah, we good. This should stick really well. My guys, I had my $850 360 camera mounted up to a selfie stick that was screwed into the actual mount for that cheaper one, okay? Had it back here. I will never, and I repeat, never do that again. You wanna see the camera? You sure you wanna see the camera? Okay, I won't show you the whole camera, I'll just show you the part of the camera. This camera splits up in 3 different places, and this is the lens. All right. So what ended up happening was, I'm gonna move the scooter further away. What ended up happening, my guys and gals, was I went on ahead. It wasn't the PGYTech, it was the cheaper one. However, the cheaper one is still really good. I will show you guys in a second. I had it mounted here. We had the selfie stick. We had this camera at the tip of the selfie stick. I'm riding this scooter right here, going fast, having a good time, making a cool video. And then slowly but surely, it started to slip down and down and down. And then the camera, bow, hits the ground and it dragged. My guys, it dragged the lens all over the asphalt. And so now this camera is why you really don't see me make videos with this camera anymore, because even though it's still not bad, I can only use 40% of my 360 footage from each video out of this camera. So I have to set this camera up so that the bad side is pointing to an area of a video that I might not want to care, or I don't really care much to see. So can you get this fixed? Yes, it is extremely expensive, $580 something to replace this through Insta360. There are ways to do, cheaper ways to get this kind of sorted out, where you have to drill the bad lens out, pull it out, and then stick a new one in, maybe use some glue or something like that. Don't mount it on the slippery part of your scooter. Now, if you guys were to apply a grippy surface with some 3M tape, so something that's really grippy that you can use so that when you want to mount any of these types of mounts to it, it's gonna really hold, and then it might not move, be my guest. But if you have a camera like these 360 cameras dangling off with a selfie stick, if you have it extended, remember that's extra pressure it's gonna pull down. It's too risky. I wouldn't do it. Now, where would I mount something like this? With success, I've mounted my cameras, taking these type of mounts and putting it like right here. And I'll show you guys a little bit closer why I would do it over here instead of back here, even though it's the same slippery surface. So if you guys look right here, you can see that there's a plate right here. That's gonna keep this thing from moving past a certain point, okay? And I don't even have it tightened down yet. I'm gonna tighten it up a little bit by hand, okay? So if it does move, and this is why I always tell you to shake. Oh shoot, it's actually pretty tight. That's why I tell you guys to shake the mounts around to see how it's gonna move under extreme situations, right? And this is pretty good right here. So I would mount it right here. I would pull down on it, and you see it won't go any further because the inside is pressed up against the inside plate. So now this won't move any further south or any further down. So then I'll take this smaller one, I'll loosen a smaller one up, and then have this so that when I put a selfie stick to it, we can see that this is good. I can extend the selfie stick and it's good to go. Let me show you guys a better angle. I know I got a lot of stuff in my garage, and it's good to go. This system right here, it cannot and will not go any further down. That is the furthest lowest. It won't go any lower than that. So you can mount an action camera to your electric scooter, mount it in that same exact spot or something similar to that, and make a good video. Okay, now I'm not gonna go through all the spots. Another spot on the scooter is up here. This over here is the same situation as down here. There's a plate right here allowing the teeth to actually push up against it so that it doesn't move any further down, therefore taking a high risk of ruining your camera. You can also probably mount it right around your stem. Remember, 1.5 inches, that is the girth, the maximum girth. Any round part or anything you wanna wrap those around, that's the maximum width that it can be, okay? You can mount it up on your handlebar. It all depends on your situation. You guys have different setups, and depending on your setup will depend on how you can mount this thing up, okay? Same thing goes for the motorcycle. It's just a 1.5 inch girth. So if you guys do not have one of these things and you wanna buy one, he's like, well, I don't know if it's gonna fit around here on my motorcycle. Get you a ruler and just measure. Make sure it's not more than 1.5 inches wide in girth. You should be able to use it. Now, let's go to the cheaper alternative. Before we go to the cheaper alternative, let me show you guys something. The PGYTech, I almost forgot, my bad, y'all. Almost forgot to show you the last bit of contents that come in this package. You have PGYTech's quick release mount system. So basically what this does is it allows you got the 3/4 inch thread on the bottom, right? You always have these 1/4 inch thread things on these types of mounts for motorcycles and bicycles. Now, could you use this for bicycling? Yes, but it's too heavy. It depends on what type of cyclist you are. This might be too heavy for a bicycle. I wouldn't use this for a bicycle just because of the weight. It's not horribly heavy. It's not horribly heavy, but it's got some weight to it, my guys. All right. But anyways, the quick release system, basically you screw this one on. And the cool thing about this whole system is you got the 1/4 inch thread on the bottom of this, 1/4 inch thread on the bottom of this. Now, Whatever camera you buy, you wanna make sure you get a mount that can screw to a 1/4" thread. That's like a given, okay? But if you don't, let's just say you have a standard GoPro camera. GoPro cameras do not have a 1/4" thread unless you buy the GoPro Hero 12. But I'm gonna use my Insta360 X3, right? This is a 360 camera. If you guys are always wanting to know, what camera should I get? I wanna get into motovlogging, I wanna get into recording my trips, and this doesn't even matter if you're on a motorcycle, electric scooter, or even in a car. This camera, you use it on anything. You use it as regular vlogging camera. This camera does it all. You can use one or the other camera to record your video. You don't have to do 360 footage all the time. And it goes up to 4K with normal mode and 5.7K in 360 mode. But when you edit 360 videos, you guys are looking at me in a 2-dimensional setup, somewhat of a 3-dimensional, depending on who you ask, right? I call it a 2-dimensional. You have to basically split. Imagine 4 frames. There's a frame over there, a frame over there, a frame over there, and a frame over there. When you record 360 footage, if you're gonna record it so that you're gonna watch the footage like how you guys are watching me right now, there's a single lens recording me and I'm talking to you guys. It chops the video up. If you use a 360, if you're recording this type of video in 360, but you're only gonna make it look like this in the final product, the final product's gonna look like this, it's not gonna be 5.7K. It's gonna be more like 1080p, a little bit more resolution than 1080. So, you're basically dividing 5.7 times 4, 5.7 by 4, and then whatever that number is, that's kind of what your resolution is gonna be if you're gonna let the final product be exactly how this video is. So anyway, we're gonna screw this GoPro mount to this camera. This camera has a quick release mount set up on it. So, I mean, if you guys really want to see that stuff, I can make a video on it. It's going to make this video way too long. So I'm going to just kind of go through it like this. And so now we have the PGYTech's quick release system hooked up to a quick release system that's hooked up to the X3. And then basically the other one is screwed on to this mount, right? With the 1/4" thread. Remember I told you guys, this has a 1/4" thread on the bottom. It has a locking mechanism and a release mechanism. As you can see, it's got the lock, and then the other one, you slide it to release it. For example, we're gonna slide it in. It's locked in tight. Okay, this camera's gonna go nowhere, all right? So now what I'm gonna do is to release this camera. There's 2 ways to release it because it's 2 quick release mounts right now. But you see this little lever on the bottom, you push it, and then you slide the camera out. Now, if you push it and you slide the camera out, okay, you see how that worked? Push the button, slide it out. You don't have to push it to put it back in. You just slide it back in and it clicks in, okay? So this works also with the selfie stick. So just to show you guys, we're gonna unscrew the entire unit from this, okay? We're gonna get our selfie stick. Hey, give me a mic, man. This took a lot of work, all right? I had to think about all this and put it into a video. Okay, so we got the selfie stick. What I like about this also is this spinning wheel allows you to tighten it even more. Like it gives you a good tightening without ruining this base right here. This is a rubber base, by the way, in case you guys didn't know. Sometimes with mounts like that, the cheaper one, if you tighten the selfie stick to the thing too tight, it starts to move this rubber base. This allows you to not do that. So this is gonna last longer overall. All the components on this thing is gonna last longer than the cheaper one. Just little things like that they thought about. Okay, let's get this X3 back in the frame. Now, the X3, we're gonna take it, remember it's on the PGYTech's quick release system. We're gonna screw 1/4" thread to 1/4" thread, okay? And something I'm gonna tell you guys, if you guys do get the X3, because I've said this in another video, but this is a totally different video, these cameras, you wanna leave the lens protectors on for as long as you can. I will never take this rubber thing off until I am actually ready to start recording. Once the camera is mounted to whatever I wanna mount it to, then I'll take this thing off. Because if you're still fiddling with it and you're still trying to adjust it and try to set it up and you don't have this lens cover on and this thing falls, my guys, remember this guy. Okay, that's gonna be this homie. Another mistake I've made was not putting lens covers or lens protectors on this camera, okay? Learned that lesson and put lens protectors on this camera and the footage comes out really, 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 really good, okay? You always wanna protect your lenses, my guys, always. When you're buying this camera and you're looking at all the options that you can buy with it and you see those little lens covers for like $18, $19, you better get them. Even the one for the screen. If this thing falls and there's a rock more penetrative, that's thicker in diameter, or thicker in thickness than these lenses, and it hits that screen cracked. You can't change that, my guys. So, and I'm gonna tell you also, if you buy this from Insta360's website, get the warranty. Some of you guys may have auto insurance companies that you have insurance with your cars or something like that. They may even offer you electronic insurance where maybe you pay like a $50 deductible, and if something like this gets damaged, and I would recommend that even more. I pay $4 or $5 extra a month for unlimited amount of insurance for all my electronics. So I could get that big one done. I could get that fixed, but I didn't put it on my policy before it happened, and I'm just not gonna do that, okay? So, but anyways, back to this. So now we have this thing mounted. Now the only compromisable situation I see here, okay, and some of you guys may be wanting to know, does the wrench work? Because this all came together. This little quick release mount system and the actual clamp. Does this little tool work? I'm sure it does. Yeah, it does. It tightens everything. Don't get crazy with the tightening, my guys. The threading inside of here, all this stuff that stuff screws into, when you keep cranking and cranking, you're gonna eventually strip everything out or break the plastic. It's all plastic in here, okay? Just don't get crazy. Make sure you screw it till it gets tight, give it a little nudge, and then leave it. If you gotta go tighter than that, then something's too heavy. You got too much equipment on it, okay? You shouldn't have to go that tight with it. Now, I'll show you the comparison between this one and the cheap alternative. So we're talking about the cheaper alternative. That's this guy right here. I don't even know the name brand of this thing, but this thing is really good. I've been using this heavily until I got the PGYTechs, and then I kind of use them together because I'll mount different cameras to each pole, and then I'll just leave them on the pole instead of having to unscrew one and put it to the other mount, blah, blah, blah. So this one right here, okay, it doesn't come with the tool, okay? It doesn't come with the tightening tool or the wrench, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't come with it. It comes with everything you see right here, okay? 1/4 inch thread, you have the little rubber base right here. So when you screw your thing, and this is what I was telling you guys about with the PGYTech and why it's a little bit better. Once it makes connection, once the selfie stick actually forms that contact with the base, with that rubber base, if you keep tightening it, you're gonna start to rub that rubber. And if I go real tight, it'll start to move, and then I'll ruin that base, that rubber base, okay? But you don't have to do that with these. These, you just get it snug, that's it. You don't have to keep cranking and cranking. Everything that you do in life does not have to be cranked until it doesn't move anymore, okay? Especially with these things. Anything that has these little rubber gaskets or these rubber bases on them like this, they're designed so that you get it snug and that's it. You don't keep tightening and tight, because if you tighten and tighten until you crank it, you're gonna completely flatten this guy. You don't wanna do that. So anyways, put the selfie stick back on. Now the grooves that I was talking about, remember I was telling you guys with this guy right here, inside of this mechanism, inside of here, there's little grooves like this, like how you see this. This one, you can kind of see what I'm talking about right there. You see all those little lines and grooves? I hope you guys are seeing it. That's what I'm talking about. So as you loosen and tighten them, there's grooves on this ball and there's grooves on the inside of this thing, and those grooves align with each other. So I always tell you guys, hand tighten until it doesn't move, and then you kind of move it around, and then okay, you tighten it a little bit more, and then you move it. You want to move it to make sure that the grooves, they connect to each other. You're basically like, my hands are grooves. You're trying to get them to go from this to this. Once they go like this, then you crank it down, and you'll know it because that's why you shake it. You shake it so that you can feel the grooves make that connection with each other. So this one right here, it doesn't have the tool, but look at the design of it, okay? Let's compare designs with these, just the top ones, okay? This one right here, it's got the little finger design. It's shaped like your finger is designed for your finger to kind of go in there and sit. So this is very comfortable to tighten, and believe it or not, those little balls right here, no homo. Those little balls right here, they're designed for grip. As you tighten, they grip. This is a very comfortable butterfly. I don't know what you want to call it. So it's very comfortable to tighten. It doesn't hurt your hand. And this one doesn't either. But this one is still a little more comfortable because it has a contours for your fingers to just fit in just perfectly, right? So you tighten it. Now to loosen this, you have full 180 degrees control. Once again, if I loosen this enough, you know, you got this whole bottom area, this whole thing, you have full control. Now, what I like about this one is, okay, it won't let me, you see on this side, it'll allow me to go down this way, right? but that's it. It's only this one side, but still you can rotate this thing. You get it set up where you want, and then boom. If you wanted to sit straight up, you know, or if you just wanted to lean a little bit like that, just lock it in place like that, my guys. It's that easy. Now, how wide did this one open? It might open up wider than the PGYTech, but we gon' see. Well, guys, it's also 1.5 inches. I don't know if you guys can see that. No, it's a little bit more. 1/5/8. So it opens up a little bit wider than the PGYTech, and I'll side by side them so you guys can physically see them versus looking at a ruler. It's actually quite impressive. Okay, so PGYTech, it stops when it's maxed out. Looks almost the same, doesn't it, physically? Do I recommend getting the PGYTech super clamp mount? Well, I think so, especially for a beginner. You see, for me, of all my action cameras, I have them all modified somehow, some way. I have mounts for them that makes it convenient to use them with any type of system like this. You know, I can mount all my cameras to something like a 1/4 inch thread. Almost all of them are magnetic. I think one of them aren't. I think this one is the one that's not magnetic, okay? But I have mounts, I have filters, I have all kinds of stuff for my cameras because I use my cameras a lot. I just don't make the videos. But if you guys want to see some of the random videos I make, let me know in the comments below. Wait, did you give me a like yet, man? I need a like for this video, my guys. And if you like what you see, subscribe. Check out my other videos and in my playlist. Maybe you might find something there related to motovlogging, related to audio for motovlogging. I have all kinds of videos that I make, but I like this. I'm gonna use this with the motorcycle or the electric scooter. My bicycle, no, okay? I wouldn't even use the cheaper one for my motorcycle. This cheaper one is actually lighter. You can feel it. It's just lighter in my hands, but minusculely lighter, just a little bit. I wouldn't use these types of mounts. There's lighter mounts on the market for bicycle use, okay? But if you have an electric bicycle, probably you don't really care about the weight. If you care about the weight, then I wouldn't use any of those, put it that way. So, without further ado, guys, that's all I got. Jay on the Segway. I hope this video wasn't too long, but I try to be as informational and intentional as possible. I'm sorry I didn't get too much into the cameras. There's a lot of modifications going on. There's a lot of things, a lot of attachments, a lot to go with these cameras. If you have any interest though, if the interest is there, put in the comments below like, hey, I want to see what's up with that camera. I want to see what's up with this camera. And maybe you have a camera in mind that I didn't show you in this video because there are some around here. Yeah, there's another one over there. But for this type of recording, like for this type, like on electric scooter, for the motorcycle, if you guys only have the budget for one camera and you don't have any cameras, I'm gonna tell you to get the Insta360 X3 as of right now. I used to like the GoPro Max 360 before my lens protectors, guys. I ain't gonna say this no more. Well, wait, I'll say it one more time. Lens protectors. Get lens protectors on these 360 cameras. Maybe not so much for the regular action cameras, but absolutely do not skip out on that. I'm telling you, you're gonna regret it if this camera falls and that original lens gets scratched. I promise you, you're gonna be so mad. There's nothing really. Some people might say, oh, is there like any distortion in your footage? They have a mode, there's an option in the camera that will allow you to say, hey, I have these lens covers on, and then it does something with the video to make it even clearer, okay? The good thing about these lens covers, guys, that's why I'm saying get them. You can replace these things. When you buy them from Insta360, for example, when you buy the lens covers with Insta360, they come with extra ones. So you get 2 sets basically, you know? And a set obviously is 2, right? So you have 2 of the 2. So you got 4 pieces of lens covers. So if this camera does fall and it scratches the lens up, at least you can put a new one on. Don't skip out on that. And like I said, if you get one for the screen, get the one for the screen. You could be riding on your motorcycle, right? Or have this thing mounted to your car, right? Or your electric scooter, right? And a truck drives by, the flat nose trucks. You know, those things always destroy people's front ends because they be blasting all the air and everything on the ground, like rocks and everything. And one of those rocks hits your screen, player. Then what? Like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Peace. Okay, get this thing back. By the way, shout outs to Yolandi for the bomb ass audio. Damn. Type in the comments below if you want to know what audio source that is.